At Cathedral altar, millionaire woman looks into poor man's eyes and makes boldest vow ever. Anastasia Beaumont stands at the altar of St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan, her hand trembling slightly as she holds the microphone that will carry her voice to 800 of New York's most influential citizens. At 35, she commands a fashion and luxury goods empire worth over $900 million, built from a single boutique into an international brand that defines elegance for the world's elite. Today represents the culmination of months of planning for what society columnists are calling the wedding of the century, her marriage to Nathaniel Ashford III, heir to a banking dynasty whose family name appears on buildings throughout the financial district. Their union promises to create one of America's most powerful couples, combining Anastasia's creative empire with Nathaniel's financial resources. The cathedral's Gothic architecture provides a breathtaking backdrop for the ceremony. Its soaring arches adorned with flowers that cost more than most people's annual salaries. The guest list reads like a directory of American power senators, Fortune 500 CEOs, Hollywood royalty, and European nobility who flew across the Atlantic to witness this strategic alliance disguised as romantic love. But as Anastasia prepares to deliver the personal vows she has carefully crafted to project the perfect image of devoted wife, her attention is captured by a figure in the cathedral's back row that stops her heart and changes everything. Among the sea of designer gowns and custom-tailored suits sits a man in simple, clearly second-hand clothing whose presence transforms this moment from performance into profound recognition. The man is Gabriel Santos, someone Anastasia hasn't seen in 15 years, but whose memory has haunted every relationship she's attempted since their paths diverged. At 37, Gabriel bears the weathered features of someone whose life has been shaped by physical labor and financial struggle. His calloused hands and sun-darkened skin telling stories of construction sites, factory floors, and the kind of honest work that Anastasia's social circle considers beneath notice. Gabriel's presence in the cathedral seems impossible given the exclusive nature of the guest list and the security surrounding the event. But there he sits, his dark eyes meeting Anastasia's across the vast space filled with society's elite, his expression carrying a mixture of love, regret, and quiet dignity that cuts through all the pageantry surrounding her like a knife through silk. The memories flood back with overwhelming intensity as Anastasia remembers their love story from college, two students from completely different worlds who found in each other everything their separate backgrounds lacked. Gabriel was the scholarship student working 3 jobs to afford basic necessities, while Anastasia was the privileged daughter of wealth learning to manage an inheritance she never earned. Their relationship had been Anastasia's first experience with authentic love, someone who valued her intelligence and character rather than her family's money, who challenged her thinking rather than simply agreeing with her opinions, and who treated her as an equal partner rather than a prize to be won. Gabriel's love had been pure and uncomplicated, free from the calculation and strategic thinking that defined every other relationship in Anastasia's world. But their love story had ended when family pressure and social expectations forced Anastasia to choose between Gabriel and her inheritance, between authentic love and financial security, between following her heart and fulfilling obligations to a family business that employed thousands of people. At 20, she had chosen duty over love, stability over passion, and spent the following 15 years building an empire while wondering what her life might have been if she had chosen differently. Gabriel's decision to attend her wedding represents either extraordinary courage or devastating masochism. Sitting among guests who represent everything he rejected when he chose honest work over social climbing, authentic relationships over strategic networking, and personal integrity over financial advancement. As Anastasia looks into Gabriel's eyes, she realizes that the vows she prepared carefully crafted words about partnership and commitment, designed to satisfy family expectations and media coverage. no longer reflect what she wants to say. The presence of the man she truly loved forces her to confront the hollowness of her current arrangement and the price she has paid for choosing security over authenticity. Nathaniel stands beside her at the altar, handsome and confident in his custom Armani tuxedo, representing everything society considers an ideal husband. His family's wealth matches her own. His social connections enhance her business prospects, and their marriage will create exactly the kind of power couple that dominates charity galas and society pages. Nathaniel's love for Anastasia is strategic, rather than passionate, based on what she represents rather than who she is as a person. Their relationship lacks the emotional intensity and intellectual connection that defined her time with Gabriel, substituting compatibility of circumstances for compatibility of souls. The moment of truth arrives as Anastasia realizes she cannot deliver the vows she prepared while looking into Gabriel's eyes and remembering what authentic love feels like. Her decision crystallizes with stunning clarity. She can continue performing the role of dutiful daughter and strategic wife, or she can finally choose to honor the love that has defined her understanding of what relationship should be. The Cathedral falls into complete silence as Anastasia abandons her prepared remarks and begins speaking from her heart for the first time in 15 years. Her voice carries clearly through the vast space as she addresses not just Nathaniel, but the entire congregation of society's elite who have gathered to witness what they assumed would be a predictable union of equals. Anastasia's words shock everyone present as she admits that her heart belongs to someone else. Someone present in the cathedral who represents everything their social circle considers inappropriate, but whose love taught her what authentic connection means. Her confession transforms the wedding ceremony into something unprecedented, a public declaration of authentic love over social expectation. The reaction from the congregation is immediate and explosive. Gasps of disbelief ripple through the assembled guests as they realize that Anastasia is publicly rejecting one of New York's most eligible bachelors for someone whose very presence challenges every assumption about appropriate marriage partners. Nathaniel's shock transforms quickly into humiliation and rage as he understands that he is being rejected not for another wealthy suitor, but for someone whose economic circumstances make him appear completely unsuitable. His family's mortification is visible as they recognize that their carefully planned alliance is dissolving into public scandal. But Anastasia continues speaking, her voice growing stronger as she finds the courage to articulate feelings she has suppressed for 15 years. She speaks about the difference between loving someone for who they are versus what they represent, about choosing authenticity over appropriateness, and about the courage required to follow one's heart despite social pressure to conform. Gabriel's reaction to Anastasia's public declaration reveals both his enduring love for her and his understanding of the enormous sacrifice she is making. His presence in the cathedral was not an attempt to disrupt her wedding, but a final gesture of love, wanting to see her happiness, even if it meant witnessing her marriage to someone else. The chapter ends with Anastasia making the boldest vow of her life, not to Nathaniel, but to Gabriel and to herself. She promises to choose love over legacy, authenticity over appropriateness, and the courage to build a life based on genuine connection rather than social expectation. Her decision to walk away from the altar toward Gabriel creates chaos in the cathedral as 800 guests witness the collapse of what was supposed to be the social event of the season. But Anastasia's choice represents the culmination of 15 years of questioning whether she made the right decision when she chose duty over love, security over passion. The aftermath of Anastasia's cathedral confession creates pandemonium that extends far beyond the immediate wedding guests. As she walks down the aisle toward Gabriel, instead of completing her marriage to Nathaniel, 800 of society's most powerful people struggle to process what they have witnessed, the complete rejection of everything their world values in favor of something they cannot understand or control. Gabriel's reaction to Anastasia's public declaration reveals both: his enduring love and his profound understanding of the sacrifice she is making. He rises from his seat in the back row, his simple clothing marking him as completely out of place among the designer-clad elite, but his dignity and obvious love for Anastasia creating a presence that commands respect despite his economic circumstances. Their reunion in the cathedral aisle occurs under the scrutiny of hundreds of witnesses whose shock transforms into fascination as they observe the authentic emotion between Anastasia and Gabriel. The contrast is stark and powerful, a billionaire fashion mogul choosing a construction worker over a banking heir, love over legacy, heart over heritage. But Gabriel's response to Anastasia's bold choice demonstrates the character that originally attracted her 15 years ago. Instead of triumphant celebration over winning her away from Nathaniel, Gabriel expresses concern for the consequences of her decision, the family relationships she may have damaged, the business alliances she has destroyed, and the social ostracism she will face for choosing him over appropriate expectations. Anastasia's family reaction provides the most immediate and painful consequence of her decision. Her mother, Eleanor Beaumont, approaches the reunited couple with a mixture of heartbreak and fury, unable to understand how her daughter could destroy years of careful social positioning for someone whose background represents everything their family worked to transcend. Eleanor's confrontation reveals the depth of sacrifice Anastasia's choice represents. The Beaumont family business involves complex partnerships and social connections that Anastasia's marriage to Nathaniel was supposed to strengthen and secure. Her public rejection of the Ashford alliance threatens not just personal relationships, but business deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. More painful is Eleanor's genuine bewilderment about Gabriel's appeal, her inability to understand what her daughter sees in someone whose economic circumstances and social position offer nothing that money cannot provide more efficiently. Eleanor's perspective reflects the worldview that has governed Anastasia's life, that relationships serve strategic purposes, and that love is a luxury that wealthy people cannot afford. Gabriel's response to Eleanor's hostility demonstrates the maturity and wisdom that 15 years of hard work and authentic living have provided. He acknowledges her concerns about his suitability while making clear that his love for Anastasia is not motivated by her wealth or social position, but by the person he knew before either of them understood how completely their different backgrounds would separate them. The revelation of Gabriel's life since their college separation provides context that challenges the congregation's assumptions about his motivations and character. Gabriel has spent 15 years working in construction, but not as a simple laborer. He has built a successful contracting business that employs dozens of workers and specializes in affordable housing projects that serve working families. Gabriel's choice to focus on construction rather than pursuing wealth or social advancement reflects his commitment to meaningful work that improves people's lives rather than simply accumulating resources. His business success comes from treating workers fairly, delivering quality construction at reasonable prices, and building homes that working families can afford rather than luxury properties that serve only the wealthy. More importantly, Gabriel has remained unmarried for 15 years, never finding anyone who could replace what he felt for Anastasia. His presence at her wedding was not an attempt to disrupt her happiness, but a final gesture of love, wanting to witness her joy even if it meant accepting that their love story had ended. Anastasia's learning about Gabriel's life reveals that her assumptions about his circumstances were based on outdated information and class prejudice. Gabriel is not the struggling student she remembered, but a successful businessman whose modest appearance reflects his values rather than his economic limitations. But Gabriel's success creates new complications as both Anastasia and the wedding guests realize that their relationship involves more complexity than simple rich woman choosing poor man. Gabriel's deliberate choice to live modestly despite business success demonstrates his rejection of the values that govern Anastasia's social circle, making their reunion about philosophical differences rather than economic circumstances. Most significant revelation comes when Gabriel explains why he attended Anastasia's wedding despite the pain it would cause him. 15 years ago, when Anastasia chose family obligation over their love, Gabriel had accepted her decision while promising himself that he would always ensure her happiness, even if he could not share it. Gabriel's investigation into Nathaniel's character had revealed concerning information about his treatment of previous relationships, his attitude toward women, and his apparent view of marriage as a business arrangement rather than emotional partnership. Gabriel's presence at the wedding was motivated by protective concern rather than romantic interference. This revelation transforms the congregation's understanding of the situation as they realize that Gabriel's actions stem from genuine care for Anastasia's well-being rather than selfish desire to reclaim her affection. His willingness to endure personal pain to ensure her safety demonstrates the depth of character that originally attracted Anastasia's response to learning about Gabriel's protective motivation reveals how completely she has understood the significance of choosing him over Nathaniel. Gabriel's love offers emotional safety and authentic partnership, while Nathaniel's marriage would have provided social status and financial alliance without genuine care for her personal happiness. The cathedral scene concludes with Anastasia and Gabriel leaving together while 800 guests struggle to process what they have witnessed. Their departure represents not just the collapse of a wedding, but the rejection of an entire social system based on strategic relationships rather than authentic connection. The story's resolution occurs 6 months later as Anastasia and Gabriel build a life that serves both their authentic selves while challenging assumptions about love across class boundaries. Anastasia has used her business resources to support Gabriel's affordable housing projects, creating a partnership that serves social good rather than personal accumulation. Their marriage, when it occurs, takes place in a small ceremony focused on family and close friends rather than social positioning. The contrast with the cathedral spectacle emphasizes their choice to prioritize authenticity over appearance, genuine connection over strategic alliance. Anastasia's boldest vow proves to be not the words she spoke in the cathedral, but her daily commitment to building a relationship based on love rather than convenience, character rather than circumstances, and shared values rather than compatible social positions. The millionaire woman who looked into a poor man's eyes at the cathedral altar and made the boldest vow ever discovered that the most meaningful promises involve choosing love over legacy, authenticity over appropriateness, and the courage to follow one's heart despite social pressure to conform to expectations. Gabriel's presence in the cathedral had been a final gift of love, ensuring Anastasia's safety even at personal cost. Her decision to choose him over Nathaniel represented not impulsiveness, but the culmination of 15 years of questioning whether she had made the right choice when she chose duty over authenticity. Their love story proves that the most powerful relationships develop between people who see beyond surface presentations to recognize genuine character and shared values. Anastasia's boldest vow was her commitment to choosing love over everything else her world considered important, creating a relationship that serves authentic happiness rather than social expectation. The tables turned when 800 elite guests realized they had witnessed not a moment of madness, but a moment of profound clarity that protected Anastasia from a strategic marriage, while reuniting her with someone whose love had endured 15 years of separation without diminishing in strength or authenticity.
Thank you for watching this story unfold with us here on M&A The Story Unfolds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.